Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a really long time since I uploaded. Placement has really been that time for me, but I recently hit 2,000 subscribers, which is amazing. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It's been amazing, and I thought because of that I would do a little Q&A for you guys, but like vet school focused. And we're getting to that time where vet school is about to start again. People are going to go for the first time. People are looking to apply in October, so I thought I'd do a little Q&A because you seem to be enjoying it. So I put a little thing out on Instagram. If you're not following me, it's just @PlantStrongTam with some dots in there somewhere. Before I start the Q&A, would you like to see a picture of my cat? No? Well, tough, because you're gonna get to see one. Look at him! Isn't he gorgeous? He is a Bengal cross called Gizmo. He has 3 legs, and we just rehomed him from Cats Protection, and he's already out and about in the wild outside, and he's living his best life, kind of tolerating the dog, but coming back at night. He jumped on my bed at like 1 in the morning yesterday, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? And I just had to make sure it was him, in case like some random cat got through the cat flap and jumped in the house. So the first question is actually about placement. So it says, what is a typical day on placement look like? So a day on placement varies depending on where I am. So I'm currently on small placement, so I start at 8 o'clock in the morning, so I have to leave at 7:45 because it's only luckily a 10-minute drive away, and then I stay, and I usually get like an hour or half an hour for lunch at like 1:30, can be as late as like 4, depending on what's going on. And then I finish on the one I'm currently at 6 p.m. so I finish at 6:10 today, and then I just drive home and I pass out, or I somehow muster the energy to film a video. So that's why I haven't been filming a video, because some of the placements are horrendously long. But basically from the time I get there to the end, I can watch surgeries. Today I actually got to take blood and got to do a castrate, so I do often get to do things as well depending on where I am and what the placement is. And then I can also watch consults, so I'll stand in the room. Like if you've ever been to the vet, you know when you like first go to the vet and they like take you into their little room, I can like stand in it and like watch them do the consult and learn some things, and I can ask the vet questions, and I can sometimes have a little examine of the animal. And yeah, placement is all about getting used to what being a normal vet is in practice, and getting your clinical skills and your consult skills kind of like practiced outside of uni, because you don't get that much time in uni before 5th year or 4th year to practice them. So that's why we do so much placement. On farm or equine placement, I haven't really done much referral work with them, so I will go out with the ambulatory farm and equine vets. So I'll sit in the car, go to the farm or the yard with them, and we will go to the horse that needs our attention, and then you can do so many consults in a day. Or in farm, you tend to go to the farm and you're there for like 2-3 hours because you're doing like routine work. So yeah, that's what a typical day on placement is. So I've done a range of them. Some start as early as when I was doing equine, I had to meet the vet sometimes at like 7:10, which was a 20-minute drive away, so I had to leave like before 7 a.m. and I think anytime I have to leave the house before 7 a.m. on placement, that is an early day. And I would finish that one sometimes at like 8:30. But some of them are like better, so I just finished a week at a lab where I had to be in at 9 and I got to leave by 4. A couple on my histology placement I got to leave at 3, so it really depends where you're going. Some places you get longer for lunch, some places you don't, but basically the general structure is you get there early in the morning, you stay, and you leave when they close, or when the vet tells you to like go home, or when you run out of things that are coming in. So this one I'm basically there start to finish, and I quite like that because I'm getting a lot of practice at stuff, and it's quite fun. Do you want to practice where you grew up or move somewhere else? So all things go well and I graduate and I become like a full-on vet, like an adult vet. I will probably not practice where I grew up because there's so much of the world that I want to see. I quite want to work for international charities, or at least locum in different countries, so I can see the world a little bit. And if I don't get the grad scheme that I want, which is the PDSA one, which is either Portsmouth, Manchester, Brighton or London, or like a few others. There isn't one where I currently live. Or I'll go into mixed practice, so true mixed practice you can only really find in like Yorkshire or like Wales or like the north. So it honestly really depends what I end up doing. I'm not mad about that. I'm quite excited to like go different places within the UK and within the world, so that'll be really fun. But long story short, no, I do not want to practice where I grew up. My like big dream is to like move to New Zealand and practice there, because you can do that with a degree from the UK. So that would be pretty cool. I met a vet who went to South Africa today, and that's pretty cool too. I would not be mad about locuming in South Africa or working for charities in South Africa. Any tips for making your application stand out so you actually get an interview? Other than having grades that fit the criteria, I know it's a bit different now because you don't have AS, but like having your predicted grades up and having all your mock grades up, that helps. Like my actual AS grades weren't ideal. They were A and 3 Bs, and I managed to bump those up to 3 As in my A2s, which is what you need to get into vet school, or at least Surrey and the RVC, which are the two that accepted me. I think something that really made my application stand out was that I talked about the concept of One Health a lot in my personal statement, and I think maybe this may have put vet schools like Bristol off of me, but it really, I think, turned Surrey and RVC onto me, because Surrey is honestly very focused on like the bigger picture of healthcare. So I think putting something about a general overarching concept of veterinary medicine in my personal statement really made me stand out, as well as talking about placements that I'd done which were a little bit different. So like I did a day on like a dairy farm looking at herd health management plans, which was like a bit different to like, oh, I did work experience in small animal practice. But if that's all you've done, like try and like bring in concepts of like conservation, or like if you're interested in that side of veterinary medicine, or policy making if you're interested in that side, or One Health if you're interested in like international work or charity work. I think that really made my application stand out, other than having like the good grades, and I got a pretty good BMAT score as well. I'm pretty sure that's still a thing that the RVC do. Showing that you know a little bit more about veterinary medicine is good in your personal statement, and also your interviews, like you're interested in like the profession as a whole and like the challenges facing the profession. Someone asked if I'm your favorite human, and Lily Fraser, you're not my favorite human. I actually kind of prefer Henry. I'm joking, Lily, you're my lobster. Right, now that friendship stuff's out the way, someone just put organization question mark, folders per year or units question mark, generally. So organization wise, I don't actually print out folders. The only organization form I have, let me actually get it out for you. I have a little laundry clip that holds together my filled out placement paperwork, or like feedback forms, and I have like a load of them that need to be scanned and go into that little pile. I just keep them for like, in case like, yeah, I have to appeal one of my placements because I'm disorganized and don't put it on the thingy on time. I have a folder which sometimes holds my clinical skills documents, but I honestly don't print them off, so this is kind of useless. Good thing I only bought one, but I kind of like it. It's kind of pretty. I must find something to put in here. Maybe I'll transfer my placement documents from their laundry clip to this folder, but then I'd need a hole punch, so I make all of my notes on the computer, and I have them in files based on the module, and then I have each lecture like portion, because we tend to get lectures in like the renal system, but or like we'll have the urogenital system, but then we'll have like kidney disease and small animals. So I tend to keep them in those sort of like files on my folder, and they're all in like year 3, year 2, year 1, soon to be year 4. So that's how I really keep stuff organized, and then I print my notes. I've just started printing my notes for exams and highlighting them instead of writing them out, because I was getting really bad wrist pain from writing my notes out and hand pain from retyping them from when I type them in the lectures. So I figured I'm going to be doing surgery my entire life, so I'd like to keep some of the mobility in my wrists and hands for like that bit, and not like completely cane it in during vet school, but yeah. So I organise stuff per year, and per module and then per thing. So other vet schools will teach you for like cows instead of just like a body system, and I think our fourth year teaching moves more towards that way. So if you want to have a cow folder, you have a cow folder. That's also a good way to do it. But label your folders well and name your documents properly, because I sometimes have ones that just start with like the I and I'm like, but what bit of the I? And they have 4 documents titled the I1 and the I2, and I'm just like, but I need to find this bit of information now. So someone asked, is it everything you hoped? And this is quite a good question, because I went into vet school with low expectations. Because I know some people that go into vet school and they're like, oh, it's what I've always wanted to do, I've always wanted to be a vet, it's everything in my life, and my life is being a vet, and I will not do anything other than being a vet. But I decided I wanted to be a vet when I was 16. So I had like a year. Because of that, I didn't have like any pressure on the job. I was kind of quite realistic about the job because I'd done quite a lot of like my mum's a doctor, so like I know there are sides of any healthcare profession or like any profession in general, and I also didn't romanticize being a vet or a vet student at all. So I was very much like, oh, I get stressed, and oh, sometimes like people put down healthy animals, and oh, sometimes like people don't listen to you. But like that, I was like kind of going into it like, yeah, I know. I'm quite a realistic person. I'm not optimistic or pessimistic. I find myself quite realistic. Someone asked, what is my favorite way to revise? So revision. I used to like rewrite everything and then retype everything and then like write a summary of everything, and I was just like so tired. My poor hands. But now like I said, I make notes in the lectures as the lecturer talks, and I make notes from the slides as well. I transfer pictures across, so lectures are very intense for me because I'm just there like typing away like, oh my god, slow down. That means that all my notes are set up once the lectures are done, so I never have to like retype them over again. So how I revise is I print them off and then I highlight everything, and then I read back through everything, and I hope to god it's gone in my brain. And if there's like something I find especially hard, I'll write it out by hand, or if there's like a picture that I can draw by hand, I'll draw that, and I'll rewatch some lectures if I'm finding the topic especially difficult, or I missed the lecture, or I just like need someone to like verbally explain it to me again. I also ask friends and like go through some stuff with friends. So a really good way to revise is to you learn half the module and then someone else learn the other half of the module, and then you teach each other the halves you've learned. So you learn it by getting taught it, you learn it by teaching it, and you learn it by reading it, and then you can read back over the bit you haven't done. So I feel like that's like you've basically gone through stuff 3 times then if you're making notes like during the lecture. So I feel like 3 times is a good amount of times to go through things. Writing stuff out by hand has been shown to be like 7 or 30% more like effective when you're remembering things, but like my sanity is more important than that 30% of knowledge. If I can get 70%, that's fine, because my pass mark is 50% and I have my whole life to like be a really good vet. So and most of it like you'll forget, like you'll have to go back through stuff in veterinary because there's just so much. Do you have time to yourself, or do you study all the time? I definitely don't study all the time because I write stuff up in lectures, so I have a lot of time after vet school. Also during term and exam times, I try and get up at 6 AM, so I do a lot of the work like before. And then my main bulk of studying doesn't really start until like a month or 2 before exams, and then I'll just start reading stuff through casually and like printing stuff off and highlighting it and writing up lectures I didn't go to, and yeah, so I do a lot outside of vet school. I like do this, which like obviously at the moment isn't taking up much of my time, but it did at a point where I was uploading like 2 videos a week. And then I will also play squash a lot. I do committee stuff at vet school, and I've just started doing committee stuff for squash, and we're trying to organize a congress. And I do Instagram, and I do like anime, I hang out with friends, I go on nights out. Yeah, I do have a lot of time to myself, but I think I'm very good at balancing my time. Oh, I think vet school is really good when you get a balance. There are definitely people who I don't think have the balance. There are people who like study all the time and they like get really good grades, but I'm like, at what cost? dear you're getting those grades. And then there are people who study none of the time and then they're in pulling all-nighters the night before exams, and I'm like, I don't know how you do this. Like, my brain just physically wouldn't be able to take that in. Like, I have pretty good short-term memory, but like, not when I'm tired. Like, I don't know how people do that. What is the best and worst part of vet school, in my opinion? I think the best part of vet school is the fact that you get to do lots of stuff. Because you don't have to specialize as a vet until, like, you can never specialize as a vet if you want. You can remain like a mixed practice vet until like the day you retire. That's the best part. I think that's what attracted me to veterinary eventually over medicine. So I think that's like a really fun thing about veterinary, and also that it can like take you anywhere. And then the worst part is just like not really having much time off, not in like general like day-to-day, just like the overview of the year, especially this year. And like, it is my fault because I had 3 weeks of placement over Easter, and then I have 13 weeks of placement in a 15-week summer, so I do not have any time off. And I also work weekends because money is like a thing that apparently you need to do stuff and live and have a roof over your head. But then it means I get a really cool summer off next year where I get to like go do fun charity stuff, so that'll be quite fun. But yeah, at the moment placement is like the worst bit, but it's also quite great because you get to practice skills and it's quite fun. But you do have to say goodbye to a really awesome team of people like every 2 weeks. So, and the workload, oh my god, the workload. It's not big, but like the volume of stuff you have to know. Like, you can't really cross anything out as irrelevant. Like, some things in my life I've been able to go like, oh, I don't need to learn that. But everything in veterinary seems like you need to learn it, unless it's like some really obscure fact or like some numbers, statistics. And even them, like, sometimes they throw them into a multiple choice question and you're like, oh my god, I don't know. And you're like, oh my god, my life hinges on multiple choice questions, and all the answers make sense. How do you deal with exam stress? If you've ever messed up, how do you deal with bad results? I go to the gym and I lift heavy weights so that my soul does not fall apart. And I talk to friends like a normal human about stuff other than exams. After exams, I do not talk about the exams. I put my headphones on, my big fat noise cancelling headphones, and walk home and listen to some K-pop in my ears to make me feel happy. Recently though, I have been getting a little bit more stressed during exam time, so I'm just making sure that I leave myself enough time to revise everything. I've got complete notes before exams start, and also that I make sure that I start early in the day so that I get the evening off, so that I feel like I have some sort of downtime in the evening. Because I feel like if you have your off time at the start of the day, when you're like waking up, and it just feels like you're procrastinating and it feels like you haven't done anything yet, so you just constantly feel worried. Whereas if I have it at the end of the day where I know that I've already got stuff done for the day, then I feel a lot better about taking a little bit of the day at the end to like chill, watch some anime, watch some YouTube, listen to some music, go on a walk, go to the gym, like just do fun stuff. So I guess that's how I deal with exam stress. How do I deal with bad results? So I've never really had an awful result. One time I got 50% on this piece of writing that we had to do, and that is the pass mark, and for me, like, I was really like, that's not good enough. I tried to make sure I understood where I made the mistakes. So I sat down with my supervisor and he talked me through where I could improve, what the marks were lost on, and how I could get a better mark next time for my main piece. And this really helped me because I was able to understand what I'd done wrong, what I needed to improve on, and how I needed to make myself better. And this really helped me to become better for the next piece that I got a first on. So when you make a mistake, I think it's really important to learn from that mistake and not just like beat yourself up about it, because at the end of the day, it's happened. Like, that mistake has been made. You've already got that bad result, so like, why not use it and like turn it into a good result? That's how I look at my bad results. I'm like, well, okay, what did I do wrong? How could I get better? And how can I make it so that I do not get a result like that again in a similar piece of work? Like, bad results happen. Everyone has off days. Everyone has times. Like, bad results happen. They just do. What should you put in your personal statement? And what is your workload like? So personal statement, I get a lot of questions about this. And the reason I haven't shared my personal statement or done a personal statement video is the fact that I don't know where the memory stick with my personal statement is. It's already been 4 years since I applied to vet school, which is quite a long time. That's almost a whole like vet worth of vet school time. So I can, like, I told you what I put in my personal statement to make it stand out a little bit. I spoke about One Health principles. But I guess what I didn't put in my personal statement was things like, oh, I've always wanted to be a vet, something like, oh, I did this on my placement, and then I did this on my placement, and then I did this. Like, vet schools aren't interested in a list of things you've already done because they don't care what you've already done, because they're gonna teach you how to vet anyway. So they care about like the skills you've learned, the skills you have, how you've implemented the skills from different aspects of your life into a veterinary aspect, and how you think skills that you've learned from doing, for example, like your netball captain time, into veterinary medicine. And they care about your interest in the profession as a whole and your understanding of current veterinary issues. Like I said, I wrote about the One Health concept, which I think was good. So the bulk of my personal statement was my skill set and what I learned from placement and from different things in my life and how I can apply them to veterinary medicine. And then about the One Health concept and like general overarching concepts that affect veterinary medicine. I had a little bit at the top, which is an introduction to myself and like maybe like why I wanted to be a vet, which I think was like the which I also threw the One Health element in because I was like interested in global health. I didn't put like, oh, I've always wanted to be a vet since I was 5, because most people applying to vet school have always wanted to be a vet, so meh. And then I put like some things about like my other interests, like or I like cooking, and I like horses. I'd put that in like the bottom conclusion. But there are a lot of good online resources on how to write your personal statement. There's like a book that's called How to Get Into Vet School, which gives you a lot of advice on your personal statement. So I feel like those are also places that you can go to get advice on that. And then what is my workload like? My workload is a lot, but because I space it out and write my notes in the lectures, it's much better. That being said, if you are stressed out by the workload at vet school, please go talk to someone. Like, get some help, like find out ways that you can like make your life easier. You can talk to your lecturers, you can talk to like your tutor and say that you're feeling overwhelmed, because that is what they are there for. But yeah, I feel like the workload of a vet is very high, so knowing how to manage your workload and prioritize different aspects of your life is important throughout vet school and throughout your veterinary career. How many placements do you need to do each year? So I don't need to do a set number of placements each year, aside from the fact that I need to do 38 weeks of placement in my entire vet school career. So 12 of those are animal handling, which I finished by like summer of 2nd year, and then 6 of those were preclinical, which I finished by Easter of 3rd year. The remainder are clinical placements, which you can do from 3rd year until the end of vet school, and I will actually have finished all of mine by Easter of 4th year. So I have a whole summer to like do what I want, and what I want to do is go do more placement. How do you make notes / organize everything? Okay, starting in September. Oh, congrats! I hope that you got in, because people know if they got in now, so I hope you got in, and I hope you're starting in September. But how do I make my notes? Well, I've already covered that. I typed them in the module. And how do I organize everything? I have a calendar, and a diary, and a timetable. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing during the day until I look at my timetable in the morning or the night before, and I'm like, oh, okay, I have 9 till 5 lectures. Fun! And sometimes I'm really organized and I write like what I have in my lectures, and then where I can like, when I need to pack for lunch, if I'm gonna be in for lunch, what I can have for breakfast, when I can go to the gym, like what time I'm doing stuff. I have like a Sunday reset video on my channel which kind of covers how I do that. So that's how I organize my life. I go through phases of like being able to do that, and phases of just like being a potato and just turning up and like sitting in the lectures and like hoping that somehow my life holds together. But generally I think I'm quite organized, but I'm also slightly a mess, so I know what I want to do and I just make sure I do it during the day. What's the biggest shock / surprise? I don't think much in vet school has ever shocked me. What's the biggest shock? Oh my god, what is the biggest shock? I think I was surprised at the diverse range of people that want to be vets. Like, you would have thought that like if everyone wanted to go to vet school they'd all have like something in common, but there are honestly so many different people at vet school, and it's great because you get to meet so many fun different people. But it also means there are so many different people, so you have to be able to see so many different points of view within veterinary medicine. Like, it's a very evidence-based career with not very much evidence behind it, because a lot of the science is more human research focused, which is more understandable because there's more money in human medicine and there's less money in veterinary medicine. So just like the opinions that people have on things, and learning to like respect everyone's opinions and like build your own opinions based on like what you know, what you learn, and what other people say, and what you think about what other people say. I think that is what shocked me the most. I think my biggest surprise was that I liked it so much. I wasn't expecting to like veterinary this much. What has been my favorite slash least favorite module so far? So my favorite module, I really enjoyed the clinical modules. I haven't had my 4th year modules yet, so I'll probably enjoy them more. But maybe my cardiology module, although it got lumped in with musculoskeletal, which I actually really like orthopedic surgery, but I'm really bad at bone diseases. So, but I think that's probably my favorite one because the heart's just really flipping cool. Like scanning the heart, that's cool. Ultrasounding of the heart, that's really cool. And we got to like practice it. And I think my least favorite module so far has been immunology, just because it was so like dry. And like, it was in second year, and second year was just a hard year. It's just like the hardest year of vet school, I think, so far. My experience so far: struggles slash homesickness, how you study for exams, do notes, things you wish you'd known before, and MMI interview prep. So I've already covered how I study for exams and do notes. I guess, struggles. So I have struggled with, I think, feeling like I belong, because I always find it quite hard to fit in somewhere, just because like I'm in my head quite a lot, and my personality type is like a bit of a weird one, so I find it quite hard to like fit into like groups and like feel like I belong somewhere. And even in 3rd year I still feel like quite out of place at vet school, and also like I'm not smart enough to be there because there are some really smart people in vet school. I also struggle with being consistently motivated. Like I've dealt a lot in the past with like not feeling great, and like just feeling really like sluggish mentally and feeling really down, and like that at vet school doesn't really like mesh well, because you have to be like switched on all the time, and just like getting myself out of funks and like picking myself up and still going to lectures. I find that a bit of a struggle sometimes, but I always do it because I'm like, nah, if I lay in bed I'm just gonna feel worse. So I'm gonna eat some fruit, eat some porridge, go to the gym, go to vet school, and feel productive, because then I always feel better. So I guess that's been a struggle. Homesickness, I don't really get homesick. There are a few times where I've been like, oh, I really want to see my baby brother, or I want to see my dad. I do call my parents during exam time because I'm like, I just need to talk to somebody that's not a vet. Things you wish you'd known before. That it's okay not to like be perfect and get perfect marks, that like getting like 50% and passing is fine. Like, it's fine. Like, they tell you this in 1st year and you're like, haha, well, I'm not gonna get 50% because I got an A star at GCSE and I got an A in A-levels, so I'm gonna do amazing. And then you get your first thing back and they're like, yeah. And you're like, oh God. And then they're like, but it's okay because you're 1st year and it's okay to be a bit rubbish, and it's okay to be rubbish like forever. Well, not forever. It's okay to be rubbish for a long time, and you just continue to learn. Like, I wish I'd known that it was okay to like learn continuously and didn't like put so much pressure on myself to be better in 1st year, because like it honestly doesn't matter at the end of the day what class you get at that school. As long as you become a vet, it's fine. And MMI interview prep. I'm really not gonna lie, I didn't do any interview prep. I was like going up to my interview at RBC and I was like, oh, I should probably read through my personal statement and like my placements. I don't think I did actually. I think I just got there and I was like, well, okay. MMIs are much more based on your like personality and like how you come across in like the 5 minutes, and like your outgoingness, your confidence level, your general like vibe, and then also like what you say. But I guess like you need to like look up relevant veterinary issues, maybe like Google some BVA articles, maybe like think a little about it on like ethical sides, like how you feel about cat kidney transplants, how you feel about no-kill shelters, how you feel about all these like things that you think like might come up in a question. Maybe think about how you feel about them, and also think about like an experience from your placement that you think you could talk about in an MMI interview that isn't just like, oh, this dog came in and we gave it this operation, and then I went home. Like, maybe think of one that's like, well, I went on a herd health day and I saw the protocols they implemented on this farm to make the production better. Be a little bit prepared on those, but other than that, like, just be confident, have a good time, and like have fun while you're there, enjoy the experience. I know it's really hard, but like, I genuinely loved my MMI interview days. I thought they were really fun. And like, try not to stress out too much, because the more stressed out you get, the more worked up you get, the more like nervous you seem, and like the less like, they don't like that. They like you to be like relaxed and like bubbly and like outgoing, and like you can hold a conversation, and like you and me are doing right now, like hold eye contact, use your hands to make gestures. Like, this is all very natural to me because I've always been a very gestury person when I talk. The last one is, what is the most challenging part in vet school? And I've kind of already answered this. I think it's the fitting in. Like, I think it's the making friends with loads of different types of people, learning to work with different people, learning to work with people who have different opinions of you, because you just get put into groups, and like just learning to like tolerate different opinions and work with people who don't share the same views as you. I think this was the most challenging part of vet school, and it's a really important skill because there will always be people who do have different opinions to you, whether it's in your job, whether it's in your clients, whether it's like in your personal life. There will always be people who have different views on things, and I think different views are really valuable because you can know and learn different things, and it can be fun and funky. And yeah, that I think is the most challenging, but one of the most exciting parts about vet school, because it really fosters a great learning environment. Now I sound like a nerd. So on that note, that is all the questions I got. Thank you so much to everyone who answered and gave me a question to like ramble about. I honestly didn't think I got that many, but I think this video is like 45-minute long before editing, so I'm gonna try and cut it down a little bit, make my answers a teeny bit more concise. And yeah, thank you so much to everyone who has supported this channel and got me to 2,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it, and I really enjoy doing this. Sitting down and filming a video for you guys has made me realize how much I kind of missed this while I was just being a lazy sack of potatoes and going about my placement life. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and if you'd like to follow me on Instagram, do. It's at plant.strong.tam, and if you'd like to subscribe, you know how to operate YouTube. There's a button. If you want to comment, do. If you want to ask more questions in the comments, do. If you want to discuss any of the answers, do. And yeah, that's all for now, guys. Thank you. Thanks for watching.